welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hello, everybody. This is Evelyn Hershkowitz, Reader Services Librarian from the Syosset Public Library on the Turn the Page podcast. And today we are lucky enough to have with us, I believe it's her debut adult novel called The Heirloom, and her name is Jessie Rosen. And I'm just going to read you a little bit about Jessie. She got her start with the award-winning blog 20 Nothings and has sold original television projects to ABC, CBS, Warner Brothers, and Netflix. Oh, I'm interested in knowing what you've done there. Her live storytelling show, Sunday Night Sex Talks, was featured on The Bachelorette, and she lives in Los Angeles. But she just told me she's from the East Coast, so.
That's exactly right. I am an East Coast girly at heart and really, raised all the way in New Jersey. So
Wow.
It's exciting to talk to you. I feel like it's talking to home.
Right, exactly. New Jersey and Long Island are very similar. So tell us, Jessie, tell everybody what The Heirloom is about. First of all, I don't want to give anything away, so I'd like you to tell.
Thank you. No spoilers. So The Heirloom is based on my own family superstition that engagement rings, really all jewelry, but especially engagement rings, hold the karma and the energy from all the relationships in which they've ever been worn. And this is very strongly held by my family, so much so that I let my now husband, know about it before we got engaged. But in the story, my main character, Shay, receives a vintage ring in the proposal moment with her beloved boyfriend. And feeling so uncomfortable about the potential negative energy that this may hold, she sets off on what turns out to be a whirlwind journey to uncover everyone that ever wore the ring prior. And along the way, many things happen that help her to question how she feels about love and commitment and marriage, and understand how she wants to step into her forever, ring or no ring.
Okay, so what inspired The Heirloom?
A lot of my own superstition, but really around the time when I was getting engaged, I brought this belief up to many people, and there was endless debate. That's ridiculous. Superstitions are silly. Vintage rings are beautiful. Wouldn't you want to have an heirloom? And when that debate was happening in my life, I just thought, oh, this is so fun. This is so rich. This seems to be something that people really can sink their teeth into. And so I wanted to play with that idea that I had. And I will also admit that the other piece of inspiration was my own journey to feel really ready to get married, to feel really ready to commit to someone forever. And I felt like that was so much less about my partner. It was almost like I knew he was the one if I was going to do it at all. And so that journey of understanding what it takes for a woman to be ready for this huge life commitment was something I really wanted to explore.
How long are you married now?
I will be married 10 years.
Oh, okay.
But the week this book comes out.
Oh my gosh, I didn't say that. Okay. The book comes out on May 7th. I'm assuming this will probably be out maybe even after May 7th, but just in case it's not, the book comes out on May 7th.
So then definitely by the time this podcast comes out, I will be married 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So this full circle moment is so unbelievable that here it is. And, I've been firm in my decision since I made it 10 years ago. However, leading up to that, I think it is perfectly normal for especially modern women who have the choice to marry or not to really think about that. And I think there's something really romantic about wanting to be really ready for that, to show up to your partnership with the total commitment.
Right. So this book takes us all over the place. Did you actually go to all these places? Were you in Italy? Did you go to Italy unfortunately, I haven't been there. Yeah. So I can't appreciate it as much as somebody who reads a book and has been to all these places. Were
Totally.
you there?
So I wrote this book during the first really phase of the pandemic was when I
Oh.
did my first draft. And so I wanted my character to travel because I wanted to travel. I was
Mhm.
so desperate to get back to some of the most magical places I'd ever been. And that's why I picked the locations that I picked. They were the places that I was most yearning to get back to. I studied abroad in Italy, so I had the most knowledge of that place and all the senses that it evokes. And then Portugal was the last big trip I really went on before the pandemic. Boston is where I went to college. That features in the book. New York is where I'm from. That features in the book. So a lot of the reason for the locations was just because of my own wanderlust and, feeling so cooped up and really wanting to be in these places.
Yeah. Well, she did live in New York for a
That's
while, the
right.
character
That's
in the
right.
book. And then
That's
she lived in LA.
yeah, that's exactly right. She's
Yeah.
got some similarities with me, Evelyn. Can you
I was
tell?
gonna say, is the character, is she based on anyone you know?
She's based on such a hodgepodge of a lot of different women that I know. And people have asked, like, would I do this? Would I go search for this ring's origin? I don't know. It feels like a really whimsical thing to do. And I will say, I've always loved characters that go. When there is a problem to be solved, they're not afraid, or even if they are afraid, go, take the journey, go on the mission, do the adventure. So I really love that about this main character. I have sometimes done that and sometimes not.
Are you close? Do you have a sister? I mean, her and her sister go together, so.
I have three
Oh,
sisters.
wow. I only
I
have two.
I have three. So imagine just one more. I have
Right.
three younger sisters.
So I have two younger sisters, so.
So then so I am really in my book, the older sister's name is Annie. And, in a way, because I am the oldest, that felt like something that was almost too, I wanted to challenge myself to write the little sister
Oh, okay.
because I never feel like that's something I wanted to tap into differently. I mean, my poor sisters, I don't know if I could ever manage a book that has three sisters. And so I keep, whenever I write, I do two, I do one, but maybe that'll be the challenge to see if I can grow to write a book that has three full sisters in it.
Yeah, no, and the cover is beautiful. It's really
Oh,
quite nice.
thank you so much. We wanted to cover, this is a story that has romance and it has comedy and it has adventure, but we really wanted to cover that kind of said, I want to get inside this book. I want to go on this adventure, as opposed to a cover that really hinted just at the fact that there happened to be men and women and romance at the center of this. So I'm really excited that people are responding to it. I think it evokes the feeling of what's inside the book. And that was
Yeah,
that
it's a
was the goal.
lovely cover. No
Thank you.
diamond ring on the book, though.
You know what's so interesting? We
Is
talked a
there?
lot about that. There is
That
no
you,
diamond ring. Well,
huh?
we talked about that and this
Yeah.
idea that I think readers may be at many different stages of their relationship with love, of their relationship with marriage, even of their relationship with engagement. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this is a book that can meet you wherever you are and can resonate and have universal themes, whether you're married, divorced, engaged, single, no matter what. So it's one of the reasons that we chose not to put a ring on the cover
Okay.
is for that.
Okay, that makes sense, but it's a beautiful cover. Is it any particular place? I mean, is that cover something, I'm assuming it's Italy.
It's almost a mesh of places
Okay,
because
okay.
this is not true to the way it was designed, but in my mind, if you look at the cover and listeners, I can describe it. There is a kind of vintage or historic Italian or Portuguese city, two places that my character goes. And then there's this expanse of water, and then there's this land on the other side. And I always imagined the land on the other side is Los Angeles.
Oh,
That it's kind of this metaphor for the fact that she goes far away from her home, Los Angeles, where her original fiance is, and she's looking back over. I mean, that's not true. That's not, exactly what it is, but that's how I like to think of it.
okay. It's beautiful. Now,
Thank
this
you.
is your debut adult novel, correct? So
That's right.
you've written YA before.
So about 6 or 7 years ago now, I published with a digital only imprint.
Oh,
James
okay.
Frey, the author had an imprint called Full Fathom 5. And they
Oh,
were doing digital publications really as a channel, not a channel, a path to film and television development. So it's such a different project for me. And it was a
mhm.
little more tied to what I was doing film and TV wise at the time, which was more like your CW shows, your young adult shows. And so that was my first foray into writing true prose. And I loved it so much. I had really wanted to get back to it. It just took a minute with other things going on.
Mhm. So you do say in your biography that you did things for ABC, CBS, Warner's, and Netflix. Can you tell us what some of those were?
So a lot of my career was in this corner of the television film industry called original development, which means you're kind of coming up with original ideas, you're selling pitches, and then being commissioned to write scripts with the hopes that they make it to television. And sometimes they do, and often they don't. So I spent a long time developing all these different projects, staffing on some shows. A show that I show ran and worked on and wrote on called The Baxters most recently
Oh,
just aired and premiered on
yeah.
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you worked on that one. Oh, how
I
nice.
did. Yeah, I did. So I had this really interesting path in terms of creating original things and then working on existing things that were mostly in television, but a little bit in film.
Very nice. What did you major in college?
Communications and
So did
Italian.
I.
Communications and Italian. I have a minor in Italian, which I will say
Oh,
after I finished writing the book as a treat and as a celebration of my 40th birthday, I did take a big trip to Italy. So
oh, how
my
nice.
book has been to Italy. I took the galley copy with me.
Okay. Is it going to be published in Italian?
I don't know. Oh, dream of dreams. We do have some international editions coming out. So we have Germany, which was very exciting, and we have Brazil,
Oh,
and then
wow.
and so far we have Serbia, which is such a wild small place, but I'm really excited that so far it's getting some attention
That is
internationally.
so exciting.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
sure
you.
Italy will come too.
I hope
I
so.
don't see why not. It should
Yeah,
be. It
yeah,
definitely
thank
should
you.
be. Will you be going on a tour with the book? Are you?
I am. So I start here in Los Angeles on May 7th, and I'm doing two events in Los Angeles. LA is so big, you've got to do an East Side and a West Side
Sure,
event.
of
And then I'm
course.
coming to Manhattan, and I
Oh,
will be at Brooklyn at Barnes and Noble in Cobble Hill and Atlantic Avenue. And then I got to head to the family. So I'm going to go down to Freehold. I'm going to do an event at my hometown bookstore, my hometown Barnes and Noble Freehold. And
that's
then
so
also, I
nice.
know I'm so
Your
excited.
mother
And then
must be quelling.
that's she is, and very excited. She's having a little event for me, and then I will be at the amazing Thunder Road Books in Spring Lake, New Jersey, which is a wonderful bookstore. Um, Later that week. So
Oh,
so
wow.
far, that's so far.
That's really exciting. That's all great stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Was this hard to get published, or what was your
The
path
journey
to publishing?
the journey was really interesting. I decided to take a little break from writing film and TV scripts and from developing something about this project, which had been with me as an idea for years. I just felt like it was a book. And I can't really explain that other than to say I think I just wanted it to have more space than a script allows. Um, so I really just quieted all that other work and I wrote this completely on spec. And I didn't tell, so I work with literary managers at that time, but I did not have a book agent. And I have a really wonderful and supportive literary manager, Rachel Miller at Haven Entertainment, who has always been a books advocate. And she has always been an advocate for that path for me. So I wrote the whole thing and then I shared it with her. She gave me a big round of notes. This is only the second time for me walking through that process of writing prose. She gave me great notes. And then together we pursued a book agent, landing with the amazing Molly Glick at CAA, who has just been wonderful. And then ultimately got another wonderful round of notes from Molly. So now we're about 2 years into this project. And I think that those notes and that final thought from her with her knowledge of the marketplace allowed it to go out for query and sell. And it did sell very quickly and
Wow.
very fortunately with a 2 book deal at Putnam Books.
Oh, how
So I
nice.
am
Book deal. Wow.
in the middle of my second book right now.
Wow. Did you have an idea going in what the second one was going to be, or
So they were really generous in offering it to be an independent book, not a sequel.
okay.
So who knows? There may be a future for Shay and the Heirloom, another story in her future, but the second book is going to be connected in terms of My character will again go on a journey. She will again be battling with a belief system, but it'll be different. And it is also an idea that I've held with me for a really long time. So when that second book opportunity came up, I had a few things, but I was really hoping that they would pick the one that I had been with me for a minute.
Okay, that's great. Is it going to have superstitions in it also?
It's going to have astrology,
Oh,
which
okay.
maybe, superstition is kind of like this one whole belief system, and you're in or you're out, and everyone has these feelings. And I wanted to play with that again. And, an area in which I feel like I'm always confuse myself and debating people, and there's so much buzz about it, is astrology. So with this first book, I wrote a character that's a believer, and she really has to unwind her belief in order to trust and listen to herself. And with this second book, I wanted to write the opposite character. So I'm writing a total skeptic. She does not believe a lick of it.
Okay.
And I'm going to take her on a journey to see if we can get her to believe a little something.
Very nice. Good for you. That's just so wonderful. So
Thank you so much.
nice. So are you a full-time author or are you still working on other projects?
So right now, for the past year or so, I've been full-time focused on this. I will reveal that we are going to take the Heirloom out as a film pitch, likely
Oh,
film, in a few months. And so it is my dream to adapt that. And that would kind of have me sitting in both spaces, but we'll see. It's my hope.
wow, that's so wonderful. Good.
Yeah.
Good for you. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. You authors are great. Is this book going to be on audio?
Yes, it will
Okay.
be. And I'm excited because we found, Putnam really found an amazing audio narrator who is a native Italian speaker. Because, there's
Oh,
some Italian in the book. So
yeah.
she was raised speaking both languages. So her English speaking voice is without accent, but her Italian voice is chef's kiss.
What's her name? I couldn't find
And
the audio, so.
yeah, the audio, I'm not sure if you can order the audio or pre-order the
Yeah.
audio, but her name is Carlotta Brennan.
Very nice. Because I'm a big audio person. I love audios.
Me
And
too. And I think this book is going to be really fun on
yeah,
audio.
no, it definitely lends itself to be a great audiobook. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, it'll be available on
Exciting.
audio
Yeah, I
now.
wasn't able to find it, so I'll look again because I didn't see the audio.
I wonder if it's because the production schedule, so Penguin Random House Putnam, when they do that, the production
Yeah.
schedule on the audio, it just wrapped up.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe they wait a second until then you
Okay.
can
Yeah, I'll
pre-order.
I'll look for it again. But you did get some very nice reviews, and you also got some very nice little quotes from some very nice famous authors. So let me see what I can
Yeah.
read for you. Annabelle Monahan, who I love her books. Nora goes
Yeah.
off script in the same time next summer. Wrote Heartful and Beautifully Told. The Heirloom is mystery wrapped in a love story that calls into question the very subjective meaning we attach to family stories. 5 stars for sure.
Oh, I love
Very
it.
good. And Kirkus, which is a tough one to get a good review, said an
Yeah.
earnest exploration of the trauma that can follow the children of divorce into adulthood that emphasizes female autonomy and independence.
I was the most honored. I was so excited by the Annabelle blurb. I must
Yeah.
confess, I'm going to gush about her. We're doing an event together in Brooklyn.
Oh,
I'm such a fan. And to her, Nora Ephron is my queen.
uh-huh.
I know she's many of our queens. And
Right, of
Annabelle
course.
has just always given me Nora vibes and then wrote a book about a Nora. So
Right.
it falls to,
Yeah, no,
but
I loved her too. She's got another one coming out this summer also. So are you
so
guys
wonderful.
friendly? I mean, you know each other.
Yeah, we've
Oh, that's
become
fun.
friendly, but we've become friendly. I have been so welcomed into the author community in a way that, I was very intimidated. I'm stepping in as a debut. I've spent time in a different industry. People have been here working for a long time, and I've been a reader and a fan, but
Right.
I haven't been a fellow author. So I've been so warmed by it. And similar with the Kirkus, this is a romantic story, but it really is a story about female independence and about a woman deciding, wait a minute, I need to work on my relationship with myself
Hmm.
before I am ready to take any next steps and feel really secure in that. And I don't want to be the kind of partner that didn't do that work ahead of time. So I was so thrilled that they called that out and that they felt that from the book.
Right. Do you think would you call this a rom-com? Is it, or it's more women's fiction?
I think it's more women's fiction. I just think a little bit of the structure of it is a little bit more women's fiction than rom-com. I think while there are elements that readers who love rom-coms will absolutely find here, I
Right.
just think it's, I set out to do a little bit of something different. And a little bit of that is just in the focus on my female heroine as opposed to squarely on the relationship.
Very nice. There
Yeah.
are a lot of characters in the book. Which character was your favorite?
There are a lot of
Right.
characters in the book because
Which one
as
was your
my,
favorite to write, though?
gosh, which one was my favorite to write? I mean, I have the sister is my favorite to write because
Okay.
I just love, Annie, who's the older sister. She's tough on her little sister, but I really, a lot of what they went through together as children in terms of what happened in their past, they went through together, but they also went through separately. I, as the oldest, had a very different relationship with my upbringing than my sisters. So I really wanted to see them come together and to play with the humor of their dynamic, but to also let them have some resolution and let them have some growth through this. So I love writing Annie, and she is based on some of the favorite women in my life.
That's great. Very, very nice. What was the Sunday night sex talks? What was that?
Yeah, so for years, I don't know if you're familiar with The Moth or Risk or live storytelling shows, but I have always loved that format of getting up in person and telling a story. And so for years, I hosted an event that was women only storytellers, and only women identifying people in the room. And people told stories about their love lives, their sex lives, their romantic lives, really confessional, amazing stories. It was just such a fun space. And then lo and behold, the producers from The Bachelorette, the Bachelorette franchise heard about the show. And we created a special version of it to air as part of a challenge in one of their episodes. So it was great fun. We wrapped up, because of the pandemic with live shows. I've taken a break from doing those live shows, but I have a plan to bring them back.
And where were you able to hear those, see those? What was the medium that?
So they were all live. So first they were at
Oh,
a lounge and bar in Los Angeles. Then they moved to the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Los Angeles. And I also often did them in New York. So there's a venue down in the Village called Les Poissons Rouges where we hosted them when I came to New York to do them.
to me, it sounds like it would be a great podcast.
I know, maybe that's the way it should come back. Yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
sounds like to me. That sounds like a podcast.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Well, we'll see.
Okay, hopefully that's what it's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so exciting. So, what is your writing life like? Do you get up at 4 in the morning and write, or do you? No.
No, I feel like, look, the older I get, the less of a morning person I become. But, one thing that I've really discovered by writing the writing process of books is if I am not taking, it requires such focus in my brain and
Discipline, absolutely.
a different level of focus than film and TV. With film and TV, I often go into a room with other people. I have collaboration, I have, joke pitches. So I've really had to figure out what my body and my brain needs to be ready to show up to sit down and write. And so often that doesn't look like getting up and running into the office and sitting down at the crack of dawn. It looks like breakfast.
Mhm.
It looks like a long walk with my dog. It looks like, hashing it out over a hike with my husband or one of my friends, and then sitting down, and feel like I am a much better writer when I spend time thinking and journaling and sketching and note carding. Then when I sit down, the writing flows faster. And I think that's a little bit of patience that I had to learn with experience and with age.
So you definitely outline your books.
Big time. And then outline them again. And then outline them a third time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big outliner. And I think that's because I come from film and TV. So often you are required to submit an outline as a step in your deliverables process. So when I outlined the Heirloom, the first step was for me to use a classic. Save the Cat is the classic book that people use. That is that classic 3-act film structure, just because it's what I knew, a way to make sure I had the most important beats and then I could surround it. And, then I kind of forget the outline and I go to write and I come back to it. So I never stay married to it, but
Right.
it makes me, it calms me down to have an outline.
Good. Is your husband in the film and TV industry also?
Yeah, he is. So he works in television development for CBS,
Oh,
for
wow.
CBS Studios. So he's on the drama side. I handle the lightness. He handles the drama. But yeah. So a little bit of that is why, as we were talking before we jumped on, you were wondering what brought me from
Yeah, what brought you to
the East
LA?
Coast to the West Coast. My husband and I were set up on the West Coast by someone that knew we were both from New Jersey.
Okay.
So I think she was making a match that made sense in terms of our heritage and all that.
Right, of course.
But yeah, part of the reason we're here is because of that. And I think there's something nice about kind of the experience of being on the West Coast for a bit, but we'll see. We've got a lot of nieces and nephews now, so it may be time to split time.
Mm-hmm. Will he be coming with you when you head east?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's our anniversary.
Okay.
So I know we have reserved one full day where we will be doing no book stuff because it's important for me that we celebrate that separately. Of course, he's been very generous in saying that this is such a big moment. But yes, we're going to do a whole fun day in the city. We're going back to the location in which we got engaged.
Oh.
Which happens to also be featured as a very important location in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a few more things I stole from my real life.
That's good. You have to write what you know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it was fun, again, I think, because I was writing during this dark time for the world. I think it really helped me to have these memories and this rich travel experience. It just made it all feel like more fun than being cooped up in our houses.
Yeah. So how long did it take from writing to publication for this book?
So let's think, because I wrote the first draft in November of 2020. So that was the first rough draft. We sold the book I must have written it in 21. I can't even remember.
Yeah,
I want to say
all meshed together.
I want to say, no, it had to be 2020, 21. We sold it. I want to say about 3 years, about 3 years. And I want to say, actually, that makes sense because there were 3 huge drafts. There was my first kind of playing around spec draft. Then there was the big draft that came from my manager and agent. And then there was the big draft that came after. Then there was a big draft that came after selling it. So, and I feel like that's really important to say for any aspiring writers listening. This did not happen overnight. And I loved it so much. I believed in it so much. I really stuck with it. But there were a lot of changes that came. And there was a lot that I didn't know that I really needed the guidance and the help with. And I feel like one of the biggest journeys of my life as a writer has been learning to take notes, understand what they mean, and how do you incorporate them. And if you don't understand, how do you ask about the note, and how do you remain calm and not view a note as rejection, but view it as an invitation to make something better. And there was a lot that I was still catching up to in terms of the prose writing style. And I think that really was part of the journey of the rounds of edits.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. I don't know if I could take that rejection, like writing a book and then having somebody come with all these notes and then you have to change things. I think I would have really hard time with that.
I both have a very hard time with it. And then you move beyond it. I don't think it ever gets easy. I think it gets easier. I think you get ready for it. Now I go in and I know where the weaknesses are. So I'm kind of ready. It's like I know where I struggle and I really can kind of brace for what the notes are going to be. And then with this book, I wanted it too bad. I wanted it so badly to be something out in the world. I wanted exactly what's happening right now, to have a conversation with a reader and a book lover and a content lover about this book, and to share in it with people and to debate it. Is the character crazy? Is she doing the right thing? And I just kept envisioning that. And I think that helped me get there.
That's terrific. Well, I thank you so much for joining us. I wish you all the luck in the world. I hope this book makes it to the New York Times bestseller.
Evelyn, from your mouth, straight up.
I wish, and you also said a movie. I hope that happens too for you.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you luck. I hope you enjoy your book tour and everybody comes to hear what you have to say.
I really appreciate it. You are doing the work. You are making it possible with me.
I hope so. I love to get, especially debut. I'm going to think of you as a debut author. Is that okay?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I love speaking with debut authors because they are so enthusiastic and energetic and just very happy to have their book out there. So I thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I know. I just feel like a kid again. I feel like little kid me is just in these podcasts and I can't believe it. It's happening and I can't believe it's happening. So thank you for being a part of that.
I hope it all goes really, really well for you. And
Thanks,
happy
Ella.
anniversary.
Thank you. All the best.
Okay, take care, Jessie. It's so nice to talk to you. So we're going to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Thank you so much. Enjoy everything.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.